It was a statement that echoed across military forums and news desks worldwide, reverberating through the corridors of power and strategy. Delivered not with arrogance but with a quiet, almost reluctant sense of awe, it was a moment that demanded attention. In a room filled with the world's top strategists and officers at a global defense symposium, one man's words cut through the technical jargon like a knife through butter. "I have seen the best-equipped armies, the most advanced training," he began, his voice steady yet filled with conviction. "But after my time in the Pacific, I must confess, no soldier trains like a Filipino," he declared, his words hanging in the air. The silence that followed was heavy with surprise, a collective intake of breath, as the weight of his statement settled in. The speaker was Colonel Alejandro Ramirez, a Venezuelan veteran known for his analytical mind and reliance on hard data, a man whose words carried weight. For him to make such a claim was not just an opinion, it was a professional conclusion that challenged the very foundations of military assessment, shaking the core beliefs of many. The story began months earlier, under the sweltering sun and unpredictable monsoons of Southeast Asia, a place where nature itself tests the limits of endurance. Ramirez was tasked with evaluating multinational forces, a mission that would take him deep into the heart of military prowess. What he witnessed would upend everything he thought he knew about what makes a soldier truly formidable, redefining his understanding of strength and resilience. Colonel Alejandro Ramirez was the epitome of a modern military professional, educated, analytical, and a firm believer in numbers and doctrine. His assignment as an observer for the Balakatan exercises in the Philippines was supposed to be routine. He arrived with a checklist: tactical formations, response times, equipment performance. Ramirez's initial interactions with the Filipino troops were polite but distant. He saw soldiers with older gear, quick to smile and unfailingly respectful, traits he dismissed as a lack of seriousness. Yet there was something he couldn't categorize: a quiet confidence, an effortless coordination, a human element he couldn't plot on a chart. Ramirez, the man of logic and data, was about to face a variable he'd never encountered. His journey from detached observer to vocal admirer was just beginning. The first phase of the exercises took place in the dense, humid jungles of Luzon. Elite units from several countries equipped with cutting-edge gear began to show signs of strain within hours. The jungle itself seemed to be an active adversary, wearing down even the most conditioned soldiers. In stark contrast, the Filipino soldiers moved through this environment with a calm acceptance. Ramirez watched as a Filipino unit navigated treacherous terrain, helping each other without a word. He had been trained to see strength in individual performance, but here, he saw collective endurance. The Filipino soldiers operated less like individuals and more like a single, cohesive organism. Their morale was not dependent on comfort or equipment, but on their bond. Ramirez made a note. They seemed to draw strength from each other. He was only beginning to perceive the deep well of strength that set them apart. The exercises escalated to a simulated amphibious assault, a test designed to push every participant to their limits, both physically and mentally. The tension was palpable as the soldiers prepared for what was supposed to be a controlled, orchestrated drill. As the landing craft drew closer to the shore, the sky darkened and a sudden tropical squall erupted. Nature's chaos, completely unscripted and not part of the simulation. The rain lashed down in sheets, wind howled, and visibility dropped to almost nothing, turning the exercise into a real ordeal. Many international troops faltered in the face of the storm, struggling to keep formation and morale. But the Filipino Marines stood out, a picture of calm resolve amid the turmoil, their faces set with quiet determination. Over the roar of the storm, Ramirez heard something unexpected: singing. A rhythmic folk song, voices rising together in defiance of the elements, each note steadying their nerves and binding them as one. The melody cut through the chaos, a reminder of home and unity. When they finally hit the beach, the storm showed no sign of letting up. Yet the Filipino platoon advanced, moving as a single, cohesive unit. Rain soaked their uniforms, sand clung to their boots, but nothing broke their stride. Ramirez watched as one soldier stumbled in the mud, only to be instantly pulled forward by his comrade. No hesitation, no need for orders. It was pure instinct, a testament to the brotherhood that bound them together. They pressed on up the beach, a living chain of hands and shared will, each man drawing strength from the one beside him. Their unity was unbreakable, forged in hardship and trust. Ramirez realized in that moment, their true training ground was not the firing range or the parade field, but the typhoon, the flood, the earthquake. These were the daily realities of their homeland, the crucibles that shaped them. In the midst of chaos, the Filipino soldiers were not just surviving, they were thriving, turning adversity into an advantage and finding order in disorder. Their training was about more than drills and discipline. It was about adapting to the unexpected, overcoming every obstacle, and relying on each other when everything else failed. This was resilience on a level no simulation could ever replicate, a spirit forged in real storms, real disasters, and real hardship. Ramirez's old metrics, the standards he once trusted, were crumbling before his eyes. He saw that excellence could not always be measured by conventional means. He was witnessing a strength forged by adversity, a force shaped by the relentless challenges of life itself, a test of body and soul, passed not in the classroom, but on the storm-lashed shores of their homeland. Ramirez began to focus less on drills and more on the moments in between. In the Filipino camp, he found not a rigid hierarchy, but a family, officers and enlisted men sharing food, stories, and laughter. Titles were replaced by Kuya and Bunso, older brother and youngest sibling. After a grueling patrol, soldiers gathered around a fire, singing softly of home and faith, a communal act of healing. During a live fire exercise, 2 Filipino soldiers rushed to aid an injured ally, carrying him back through treacherous terrain without hesitation. They saw not a foreigner, but a fellow soldier in need. This was pakikisama and bayanihan, communal unity and selfless service at work. Ramirez realized their strength was not in individual abilities but in unwavering commitment to one another. Their invisible armor was brotherhood. The Filipino soldiers' greatest asset was not physical prowess but the unbreakable bond they shared. It was a force that propelled them beyond endurance. The turning point came during a survival training module. Soldiers were left in the jungle with minimal supplies for 3 days. Other teams hoarded resources and built individual shelters, but the Filipinos gathered together, beginning with a quiet prayer. They pooled their meager supplies. There was no mine, only ours. Over the next days they worked as a single unit, foraging, fishing, building a communal shelter, and sharing everything. There was no bickering, only efficient, compassionate cooperation. On extraction day, many teams were haggard and irritable. The Filipinos, though tired, were in good spirits, even offering extra food to the crew. Ramirez understood. Their survival was not just skill, but spirit. Faith gave them hope, brotherhood gave them strength. Their most powerful weapon was not their rifle, but their heart. Ramirez saw that the Filipino soldiers' resilience was rooted in something deeper than training. It was a way of life. He finally understood what made them truly formidable. To understand the Filipino soldier, Ramirez looked beyond the base. In a nearby town, he saw farmers, fishermen, and families sharing meals, laughter, and help. His guide explained kapwa, a shared identity, a sense of connection to everyone. "We are separated by water, but connected by spirit," the officer said. "When disaster strikes, the whole nation feels it. Survival is communal." Ramirez saw neighbors rebuilding roofs, strangers helping each other, and faith woven into daily life. Churches were community centers, always open. This faith was an active source of strength and optimism. The Filipino soldier was a reflection of his people, endurance, humility, brotherhood, and faith, nurtured from birth. Their strength was the nation's strength. When Ramirez's confession went public, the reaction was immediate. In the Philippines, it sparked a surge of national pride. #Pinoy Pride trended as people saw their soldiers' resilience as their own. Critics in the international military community dismissed his statement as emotional and anecdotal, arguing that spirit was no match for technology. Online forums debated, was this romanticizing hardship or recognizing a different kind of strength? Ramirez faced professional blowback but never wavered. He argued for a holistic view of military strength, emphasizing morale, low combat stress, and effectiveness in adversity. Veterans from various conflicts supported his claims, sharing stories of Filipino tenacity. Ramirez's words sparked a global conversation about what truly makes a strong soldier. The debate was far from over. In the end, Ramirez's journey was about more than just military drills or tactical maneuvers. It was a profound lesson in humanity, compassion, and the quiet strength that lies within every soldier. He witnessed not only the discipline required on the training grounds, but also the deep empathy and sense of responsibility these soldiers carried for their people. He arrived seeing soldiers as statistics, mere numbers in a report. He left seeing them as living poems of resilience, each with a unique story of sacrifice, hope, and unwavering courage. The Filipino soldier's unbreakable nature was deeply connected to the spirit of the Filipino people. finding joy in simplicity, drawing strength from community, and holding on to hope through faith. Their laughter in the face of hardship and their unity in times of struggle became a source of inspiration for Ramirez. Their uniform didn't change who they were, it simply gave their spirit a new purpose, a new way to serve and protect. It became a symbol of their commitment, not just to their country, but to each other and to the values they hold dear. Ramirez's final report spoke not only of tactical skills, but of emotional intelligence, spiritual fortitude, and the powerful communal bonds that proved to be critical assets in warfare. He realized that these qualities were just as vital as any weapon or strategy. A weapon, he wrote, is only as strong as the hand that wields it. The true power lies not in the steel, but in the resolve and integrity of the person behind it. And the strength of that hand comes from the heart, from the love of family, the loyalty to comrades, and the unbreakable will to protect what matters most. While technology and advanced equipment can win battles, it is the enduring spirit, the courage to keep going when all seems lost, that truly wins wars and secures peace for generations. True strength, Ramirez learned, is not measured in weapons or armies, but in the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to rise after every fall, to support one another, and to never give up, no matter the odds. The Filipino soldier, a reflection of an entire nation's heart and soul, teaches us that the most formidable force on earth is a spirit that refuses to be broken, a spirit that stands tall in the face of adversity. That is the true measure of a soldier: the courage to endure, the compassion to serve, and the unyielding spirit that inspires us all.